Welcome everybody to our BNI Talks webinar. My name is Steve Tenuzzo, your host, and this week we are talking about using TikTok for your business. This will be a general overview, and my guest is Charla Moody. And Charla, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself, and we'll start up this presentation.
Perfect. Well, as Steve said, my name is Charla Moody, and I live in Southwest Missouri in Springfield. And I have over 24 years of experience, almost 25 years of experience in marketing. My business is called Jane of All Trades because I worked for an international nonprofit. And if you work for a nonprofit, you learn to do all the things, right? What I love doing for my clients and for friends is marketing strategy, is helping create the overall plan that is going to help businesses achieve their goals. You know, not just the goals for their business, but also for entrepreneurs. It's I want to retire earlier. I want to retire to the lake. You know, so we help structure those marketing efforts to help make sure that we're meeting the goals that we want to create. I am a part of the SMART chapter in Springfield, Missouri. SMART stands for Springfield Metro Area Referral Team, and I've already seen several of my compatriots here online. I asked them
All
to
right.
come and give me lots of grief today. So I am super excited to talk about TikTok. It's one of the newer platforms that are out there, and it's kind of a unique opportunity for businesses to connect with their audience in different ways than what we traditionally think of on social media.
All right, cool. So before we get into all of this,
Mhm.
let's do a quick poll. I can find the polls. There they are. All right, let's launch this very simple poll. For those of you driving around and not looking on screen, do you currently have TikTok on your phone? I see early results are telling me that we have a lot of curious people about it. And those who use it, some use it for business, but the majority seem to be using it primarily for fun. No one has chosen option number 4. What is TikTok? Oh, there's somebody. All right, let's keep this poll open another few seconds. We'll share the results. Okay,
Awesome.
so there we have it.
All right.
11% of you are already using it for business, 37% using it for fun, and 51 are curious about it. And of course, we have our 2 people who are like, what is this thing? Which you'll be learning about today as well. So before we get into any of that stuff, I know some of you have emailed me or called me and said, I'm concerned about the security issues with TikTok. And, with any kind of social media platform, we have to be careful. For those of you who don't know, TikTok is not an American company, although they do operate out of California, but they are primarily located in China. So there have been some issues. So I'm going to read a little unofficial disclaimer that says this. Social media is used with great success for many businesses of all sizes. In March, the U.S. Department of Commerce called for increased oversight of TikTok based on intellectual misappropriation and national security concerns. Earlier this month, 2 billion TikTok user accounts were allegedly compromised, which was denied by TikTok. Seek legal advice on how your business can reduce risk when posting on TikTok and other social media platforms. So putting that disclaimer out there, just to say, as with anything, and Charlotte, I'm sure you agree, be very careful, watch your security profiles, do the best that you can to make sure that you're not sharing anything that you don't want. But we wanted to put that out there just because TikTok is kind of a little bit different. Even though it's the most popular app right now, it's also the one that some people feel comes with a lot of risk in terms of security.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks for that, Steve. Are we ready to get going?
Let's go.
Awesome. So what we're going to talk about today is this is literally going to be a TikTok 101. So this is just the basics, the general overview. What we're going to talk about today is what is it? Who is it good for? Why might you want to consider using it? How to get started? And then we're going to get into some ideas to kind of get your brain and your creative juices flowing, because that's my favorite part. One of the things that I want to talk about as we get started is I want to give you my point of view. So as I said earlier, I am a marketing strategist. And so I am looking at nose to tail marketing strategy. I'm looking at everything from digital to in print to in person, like events or public speaking engagements, and how that all affects our marketing efforts, right? And so everything has a lane, everything has a channel. And so one thing I always want to make sure is that social media stays in its lane. If you're not careful, social media is one of those things that, you may have started out as a plumber, but now all of a sudden you're creating social content all day long, every day, and you're not doing the business that you started in the first place. So we always want to make sure that social media stays in its lane. The other thing that I want to just kind of call out quickly is what it's great for. A lot of creators on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, they monetize their platforms and they earn a living off of the social stuff that they create. Social media, by and large, for businesses is not the best ROI. You get a stronger ROI through what you produce on your website. Email lists are still the king of ROI, and networking events like BNI are also stronger in ROI than your social media platforms. What social media is great at brand awareness. It's great at exemplifying your authority on a topic and your knowledge on a topic. And it's also brilliant at customer engagement. So we also want to keep it our focus, is it making us money? Maybe not as much, but is it growing? Is it growing our audience? Are we getting better, deeper customer relations that then lead to other channels that drive us into revenue? Absolutely. So we want to keep that in mind as well. And we also need to remember that TikTok, like any other social platform, like the search algorithms, is constantly changing. It is not perfect. As Steve mentioned earlier, it's not perfect. No social platform is perfect. And it's always changing. And so we take the good with the bad and we adapt as it goes forward, right? So I want to kind of help that point of view, so we're all coming from the same mindset as we get started. All right, so here we go. What is TikTok? So TikTok is a social media platform, and it's one of the newer platforms, and it's increasingly becoming one of the most popular players in the social media game. Your big three are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. There are dozens of other platforms, but those three tend to be the top ones that most people gravitate towards today. It is video only, and so that's what makes it completely unique from Facebook and Instagram. Is it is only video, and it's snackable video. So videos tend to be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, and they recently added a 10-minute option, which kind of gets it competing against YouTube, because the 10 to 15-minute videos on YouTube's is kind of where that sweet spot is for YouTube. But primarily the most popular and most consumed content is about that 30-second mark. So we're really looking for what's called snackable content, and I'll talk about that in a minute. TikTok really grew during the pandemic when everybody was stuck at home and they were they couldn't take a water cooler break, or they, had more time to spare because they were at home, and people were a little bit, down in the, we were all a little bit collectively depressed. And for whatever reason, a large part of society turned to TikTok for that entertainment. As you can see, that platform usage grew 180% during the pandemic, during the 15 to 25-year-old bracket, when everybody was working at home. And as of September of last year, 30% of users are between 30 and 49 years old, which is a large part of most of our demographic of who we're looking for. And that 30% is kind of a sweet spot. When I work with my clients and we're watching new platforms, when the 30 to 49-year-old bracket hits the 20 to 30% range, that's when we want to start engaging on that new platform, because that's when our audience is really starting to be on that platform, and that platform is having its growth phases. To that end, there are more than 80 million active monthly users on TikTok in the US alone. Every month, it's 1 billion, which is a third of what's on Facebook, and about half of what's on Instagram. And you can tell too that it's rapidly growing because of how Meta views it as a competitor. Meta, which is the owner of Facebook and Instagram, is actually pivoting Instagram a little bit to become more video only so as to compete with TikTok. Typically, Zuckerberg likes to buy out social platforms that compete with him, which is how they acquired Instagram in the first place. And since he can't buy TikTok, they are trying to adjust Instagram to compete. So that's also another way to watch out for growing competition, and where you might want to be is watching what Facebook is doing on how they're pivoting what they do to compete with whoever else is out there. So why should you consider using TikTok as a social media platform? Well, first of all, video is effective. Research shows that 84% of people say that video has convinced them to buy a product or service, and 85% of people say they'd like to see more content, video content from brands that they interact with and purchase from on a regular basis. TikTok is designed for smartphone use, just like more than 50% of website viewage happens on our smartphones. 75% of all videos consumed are played on a smartphone device. So that's the videos that we see online. That could be even TV and movies are being watched on smartphones now. Again, TikTok is snackable. And what that means is that they are short form videos. So we're not talking about 10 or 15 or half an hour minute videos, not episodic things. We are talking about content that can be consumed in a quick manner. And these short form videos are the number one leader for lead generation and engagement. So lead generation and engagement, lead generation are those things that help draw the content that we produce that helps draw in sales. That's very top of the funnel. If you're familiar with sales funnel, we're drawing people in, and short form video wins the day on those things. So again, going back to engaging the customers and raising that brand awareness. And also the trends that you're seeing on Instagram Reels, they started on TikTok about a month and a half ago. So a lot of the trends and the memes and the things that we're seeing, like, she's a 10 but, was a huge one this summer that spilled into TikTok, into LinkedIn, in Facebook and Instagram. It started on TikTok. So that's another reason why you might want to consider using it, is where all of the trends and the things that we're seeing on social, that's where they are starting, and they're having their birth, so to speak. So who is a TikTok ideal for? First of all, if you are a B2C company and you work directly with consumers, is an absolute no-brainer that TikTok would be a great place for you to consider jumping over for social. I work with a lot of clients that say Facebook is too crowded and they are not getting any traction on anything that they do on Facebook. So oftentimes we will consider a move over to TikTok. We keep the Facebook page, but we start putting some of our more creative efforts over into TikTok, because it's just, for some people, it's just too difficult for them to get any kind of traction or any kind of movement on Facebook. So that's an option that I hear a lot. That would be a good reason to consider it. And another one is that you enjoy creating video, because it's only video. And so you need to be comfortable or be willing to learn to be comfortable in front of a camera. You don't have to have a huge setup. Our smartphones are perfect. If you have an iOS 11, if you're on an Apple, that camera and forward is absolutely beyond perfect. I mean, even if you have an older model, you can still shoot video and take photos with your camera. That'll be good for social. And on TikTok, you can do all of your editing on your phone as well. So if you're not necessarily comfortable doing it, but there's someone on your team who you think would be a good representation of your brand and they're wanting to do it, let them take it. You just have to make sure that you're comfortable with that person representing your company, because once they're the face, they are the face and who people are going to recognize and identify. So you kind of want to think that whole thing through. But those are the big top three that I like to talk about or think about through of who might TikTok be good for. Now, I talk to a lot of people and they think, well, my brand is boring, or my company isn't something that I think would be good for TikTok. Let me tell you, there are such a wide range of businesses that are creating TikTok content on TikTok. For instance, my cousin found her financial advisor on TikTok. Now, there's a lot of regulations and a lot of things that he had to do to get approval, but his company that he is with has allowed him to keep his TikTok account because it has been so insanely popular. Real estate agents are popular on TikTok. I follow this gardening guy that I follow. His name's Tanner the Planter. He owns a gardening center in Texas, and he gives all sorts of really cool ways to help keep your plants healthy. Government, if you are not following OK Wildlife Department on TikTok and Twitter, you should be. They are a great example of a company that takes kind of dry content and absolutely is amazing. And I hate to say it, but they are killing it at the TikTok game. And they're a good one to get inspiration from and get ideas from, and just follow because it is quite funny. There are also a lot of attorneys on TikTok, divorce attorneys, real estate planning attorneys. You can find all sorts of that kind of content on TikTok. You can also find home inspectors, copywriters in the space that I work in. Copywriters and designers and marketing people have TikTok accounts. Veterinarians, if you're looking for something that gives you the in the cat videos in a fun kind of a way, there are veterinarians. Even therapists. You can learn, in addition to having a lot of fun personally on TikTok, you can actually learn a lot of interesting facts. I mean, I found out the Queen of England passed by watching one of the creators that I follow from the UK, right before it was actually announced, worldwide. I found out on TikTok. Now, how crazy is that?
Mm.
So now that we've kind of got an idea of who we're looking for, like who might be good, the types of content. So maybe now you're getting a little excited and thinking, man, maybe TikTok could be for me, but I have no idea how to get started. The first thing that I always tell somebody who has never had a TikTok account before, I tell them just to download the app, create an account, and just start watching content. TikTok is a different animal. It has a different vibe in the room, right? So as we learn in BNI, we need to read a room when we walk into a networking event, right? We can see if people are standing in certain ways, they are open in how they are standing, and they may be more open to having people join them for the conversation. If they're standing face to face each other, right, that's called closed, and they may be having a serious conversation, and their body language is telling us that they're not as open to having a person join that conversation, right? You have to learn to read the room. And the same thing is true with any social media platform that we're getting ready to engage in. It has a vibe. It has a feel to it. Facebook's feel is different than Instagram, is different than Reddit, right? And TikTok is the same. So I encourage people just to start watching content, get a feel for the space. And it's always important to set a timer, maybe 10 to 15 minutes at a time, because if you don't, 3 hours will go by and you'll wonder what happened to your entire evening because you just got sucked down a rabbit hole that you did not intend to go down. But the TikTok pages is divided into 3 formats. You have the people that you follow, you have the people that you're friends with, so you can see the people directly that you have friended and they friended you back. And then they have what's called the FYP, and the FYP stands for the For You page. Now, when you first join TikTok, it's going to just send a lot of random things at you because that algorithm is going to try and learn and see the type of content that you interact with, that you spend a lot of time watching, and to send you more of those kinds of content things. So the more that you engage the content, the more that algorithm will refine in your FYP of the content that they think that you want to watch and to be a part of. If you like to read books, there is a whole subgenre called book talk, and book talk is really changing the independent publishing sector right now. So be sure to set that timer when you do. When you're looking for types of accounts to follow, it's always a good idea to follow people who are in the space that you're currently in. So if you're a real estate agent, go search for other real estate agents and learn from them. I'm a big fan of learning from other people. What are other people doing, and how can I take that and apply it to me and make it my own? Also look at things that are space adjacent. So if you're a real estate agent, you can follow other inspectors. Look for home interior decorators or remodelers. Those people that are in a space that's related to yours. I'm in marketing, so I follow a lot of copywriters, editors, designers, web developers, those kinds of people. Topics that interest you, because it shouldn't just be about business, because we're holistic people, right? We're three-dimensional, we're multifaceted. So look for topics that interest you. If you're an Anglophile, follow accounts that are big on, on royalty or on things that are happening in the UK or in other parts of, or news outlets. Um, Follow other accounts that you follow on Facebook or Instagram. See if they have a TikTok account, and look at how they do content differently on TikTok than they do on Instagram and Facebook, or how it's the same, because it can also be the same. And then we're going to get a feel for it part two. After you start watching and observing content for a couple of weeks, now I want you to start interacting. I want you to start commenting on posts and saying, things, as simple as, oh my gosh, I did not know that. Or, wow, that's so surprising. Or even an emoji, a laughing emoji if you thought it was funny. So start engaging and learn how to interact with people, because one of the things that makes TikTok so much fun is the comment section and how people engage and interact with each other in the comment section. It's completely different from Facebook and Instagram. And there are whole accounts that are set up where everybody just watches a video and then they go read the funny comments that other people have made, and there are entire accounts that's all that they do. And so we want to start doing that kind of thing, learning how to engage and interact in the conversation. And at this point too, we want to start creating idea buckets, like taking ideas and writing things down on a notepad or on your phone or whatever, right? So how long does this take? I want you to spend a month. And I know that feels like a lot, because everybody, when they come to me, we want to start tomorrow, and we want to start getting those results tomorrow, and exactly 15 minutes from now would be even better. But when we breathe through it and we recognize that it's going to be okay, it's going to take time, and it's more important for you to learn and understand before we start executing. Because if you start executing and you don't read the room right, what's going to happen? Nobody's going to want to talk to you, right? If you go into a networking room and you don't read that room right, you're going to feel awkward, and everybody else is going to feel awkward. So we want to bring that room together. We want to breathe that vibe in, and we want to enter the space in the way that the space is asking us to, or inviting us to come alongside on the journey. So now that we've done that and we've given it a month and we've learned it and we feel like we're ready to go, I want you to create a content calendar. This is so critical, because a lot of times I talk with people who have different types of contents for email, for their website, for all of their different socials, and none of it works together. And so we want to create a content calendar, and we want to look holistically of how we're using this content. You first need to determine how often are you wanting to post. A lot of people are going to gung-ho and they're going to be excited and they want to post every day of the week. And I'm telling you now, that's not sustainable in the long term when you're just starting out. I encourage people to post no more than once a week. Its consistency and the regularity is more important than the quantity. Okay, so we're going to start posting once a week. You may choose Tuesday at 10 a.m. Whatever that works for you, choose that day and stick with it. What types of content are you wanting to post? Break down your business and what you do. Even if you think you only do one thing, there's a lot in that one thing that you do that you can pull a lot of content from. Then I want you to go online and download a blank calendar. If you Google download blank 2022 calendar, or you pull the calendar off of your wall, I want you to take a pencil and start mapping out what types of content are you going to create in the future, so that way you have a game plan going forward of what that looks like. And then I want you to look and think about, do I want this to live on other social platforms? TikTok is a really cool native feature that when you post a video to TikTok, you can link it to your Instagram so that it will redirect you to Instagram and you can post it to Instagram. And then when you're on Instagram, you can set if you are also on Facebook, you can set your Facebook so that whatever post to Instagram automatically gets posted to Facebook. So if you wanted an easy way to publish backwards, you could post something on TikTok and then easily post it to your Instagram and Facebook pages. And in basically a couple swipes of the button, you've posted to 3 platforms and not having to go back in and do all of the things. So I want you to think too, where else can we use the content? Because again, I'm a big fan of working smarter, not harder. If we are creating one content, I want to suck every bit of juice out of that content that I can. Is this a piece of content that I can upload to a YouTube channel? Can I post it to my website? Is this would this piece of content, this video, be useful in an email that I send to my audience? Again, putting it to other social platforms. If you are not utilizing your Google My Business and posting to your Google My Business, you should be. And video content would be another thing that you could do to help raise your local SEO on Google My Business. Potentially, you may be able to use some of your content in digital advertising, especially the shorter forms, the 15 to 30-second stuff that's, on your topic or whatever. You may be able to use some of that in digital advertising. And that's my least favorite one, but it is possible to find some ideas, some ways to use the content that you create on TikTok in digital advertising. So let's talk about the fun stuff. What types of ideas should I be looking at for my business? The first thing, I want you to break down the topics of your business. Like I said, even if you do one thing, let's say you're a property manager, you do more than just collect HOA dues, or, there's a whole list of things that you do when you work with a homeowner, to a property owner, to manage their rental properties, right? There's a lot of topics that you can just break down. Because again, 3-minute max, really 30 seconds, you can really start to dive in and have some fun with these contents. Your FAQ list is a great place to start for content, answering questions that you get asked a lot about the type of work that you do. Sharing favorite client stories or problems that you've solved for your clients is huge, right? We all like to think about how we search the internet. We're searching, looking to solve a problem or find a solution. Offering those things in video format is easily a great way to go. Sharing insights on your team, giving an opportunity to meet the people behind the scenes. Even when we work with major brands, if I'm working with Nike or Coca-Cola, if I'm buying from them, I want to know that I'm working with a real human being. We want to work with other people. And so lifting that curtain and having a peek behind the curtain is a fantastic way to help build that relationship and bring that human element in. Also showing a day in your life, like thinking outside of work, sharing life stories, things that happened with your family, or just sharing bits of who you are is also beneficial. One of the things that's been trending recently on TikTok is a day in the life. So, as a marketing person, I could snap videos of me. What is a typical day as a marketing strategist? Starting from when I get up and brushing my teeth in the morning all the way till I go to bed at night, and then condensing that video down. Those things are becoming quite popular. So that's just a whole lot of big content that you can look at that's going to be unique. Now, one of the things that I love about TikTok is there are some great ways to pull off trends and memes that are different than how it works on Facebook and Instagram. A trending topic this summer was Johnny Depp, right? And that whole divorce case. And you would be surprised at how people were tying things into Johnny Depp over the summer. Different trends. There are music trends. There are filter trends. Like one right now that I was playing around with this morning was changing your hair to purple. And just simple filters are a great way to get on trend, because people search by the music, people search by hashtags, people search by the filters and the memes. So again, the "she's a 10 but" was a huge on TikTok. Using sounds, it's not just music, but using the voices from other creators and putting your own spin on it, and the funny way that you can make that happen is just wildly popular. Hashtags work differently than they do on Facebook. Hashtags on Facebook tend to be a little sarcastic in nature. Hashtags on Twitter and Instagram, those are more content driven, more tied to the topic that you're talking about. On TikTok, you may see one or two hashtags that are relevant to the topic you're talking about. And then what people do is they will pull one or two popular trending topics. Like last Christmas, people were posting non-Christmassy content. They were talking about what their dog was doing. But one of the hashtags that they used was Macy's gift guide. Macy's holiday.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so it doesn't even have to make sense. You're just pulling off of you're pulling off of these trends and memes to be a part of the conversation and to get your kind of your toe in the door. I'll show you some examples here in a minute of what a duet means when you are paralleling your video next to another creator. Or stitching a video is basically when you take a short clip, like 10 to 15 seconds of another creator, and then you're either giving your thoughts on it after you're following it and you're talking about the topic or something related to it. Those are also popular ways to get yourself in front of other people's audiences. And then too, you can go live on TikTok just like you can on YouTube, Discord, Twitch, Facebook, or Instagram. So I want to show you an example real quick of using an audio clip. All three of these videos that I'm going to show you use the same audio clip.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey.
And then one more.
Hey, 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 hey.
So if you were to go onto TikTok, you can actually search by these videos or by the audio clip, and then you'll see what everybody else has done. So it's kind of just I wanted to find a really quick example of showing how a business and then also an individual could use these sounds in different ways to introduce their team or to do something funny, or whatever, to get, again, enter the conversation into TikTok. The next is I want to show you, this is what a duet looks like. So when you see these popped up on camera, this guy right here is Kyle Sheely. He's from Springfield, Missouri, and he was talking about raccoons. And so this is the Oklahoma Wildlife Department, and she has a taxidermied raccoon, and so she's duetted. She's just sitting there silently. She doesn't say anything. She just pulls Hernando, the taxidermied raccoon, into the camera while Kyle is talking. This one here in the middle is a web designer that I follow, and the women on the right, they just look like they're listening and interested, and they're giving their opinion on whatever you're about to say. And here in this video, she is asking if she should redo her branding so she can use that cool new font. The answer is no to that one. And then this last one is a PR consultant that I follow, and she's duetting someone who thinks, answering the question if you think TikTok is a waste of time for business. This woman was on TikTok for her business, and she was on Good Morning America. Wild dreams, right? But that's kind of what a duet looks like. So I want to encourage you. As you are thinking about TikTok, to remember to have fun with it. If social media or on any platform gets to where it feels like it's the thing that you have to do and it's annoying and it's frustrating, stop doing it. But I encourage you to play around and have fun with these kinds of things, because that's kind of what it's for, is to encourage people to follow you, to get along. Keep social media in its lane, regardless of what platform you're using, and have fun with it, and experiment, because that's really what a lot of what marketing is you think this is going to work, and until you do it, you don't know if it's going to work as well or even better than you thought it did. So have fun with it. We're going to go to questions in a minute, but before we go, I want to thank you for coming to my TED Talk, because that is a trend that's been happening on TikTok, is thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you have any questions or you would like to potentially see if we could work together, I love strategizing, I love brainstorming, and I love seeing how I can help small businesses, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits grow and engage their audiences in greater ways. So back to you, Steve.
All right. Well, we do have lots of questions, so why don't we jump right in and get to them? First one says, I own a flooring store where we do sales and installation of all flooring. I'm not sure if TikTok is good for my customers.
I think you can. I think TikTok might be a possibility for you, because again, we're thinking about inspectors, real estate agents, people that do interior design. This is an opportunity for you to talk about the different types of flooring, how showing the behind the scenes. There's a company that they do rug cleaning, and literally all of their videos are showing them cleaning the nastiest carpets I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's all that they do. And so being able to talk about different kinds of flooring, my uncle was a rep for Shaw Floor. So I love to talk about flooring and the different kinds that are out there and why choose one or the other. This is a great opportunity for you to talk about new things that are out there that are trending in this space. And again, showing your business. So I say, go ahead and try it.
All right. Doesn't effectiveness on social media depend on knowledge of social media? There are ways to activate the algorithm, and many people are very effective at capitalizing on this.
Yes and no. I always say social media is a bit art and it's a bit alchemy. And that alchemy is that algorithm. And that algorithm does change. Like we talked about in the beginning, it is always changing. And there are things that you can do to stay on top of that. There are a lot of like HubSpot is a great place to follow if you're looking for advice on marketing. They are constantly updating and keeping people in the loop of how to help those algorithms. But I think part of it is you've got to find your tribe, just like on Facebook and Instagram. And part of that is playing around with some of the things that I talked about using the hashtag. I don't think you have to be a social media expert. A lot of the really great content creators that have come up on TikTok through the pandemic would not consider themselves social media experts. They just started playing around with content and had fun with it.
Mhm. A couple of people asked us in the chat as well. What was the government agency on TikTok that you mentioned?
Certainly, it is OK Wildlife Department, DEPT. OK Wildlife DEPT. She's fantastic, and she's young and she's Native American. So I'm always like giving a shout out to what she's done. I'm from Oklahoma originally, and so anytime I can, when I saw that she was trending, I was like, she's amazing.
Great. All right. What is the benefit of someone duetting your content? And is it important for me to create a duet with other content to get more views?
Oh, Lisa, that's an excellent question. The thing about duetting is when you duet someone else's content, you get mention. You are pulling their viewers to you, and then you are also introducing them to your audience. So that's kind of one of the benefits of duetting, but it's also just an opportunity for you to pull in other content ideas where you didn't have to necessarily create the original, but you were able to play off a trending topic. Like today's trending topic is the horrible things that are happening in Iran in the nation. And so right now, what I've seen a lot this morning is women just duetting other Iranian women to raise awareness for an issue. So it can be something as simple as you're wanting to raise awareness for the issue of whatever it is that's involved you personally, or maybe related to your business, or it's another great way to pull in new viewers that you've not had before.
All right. How can TikTok benefit a nonprofit on criminal justice reform?
Well, that's a good one.
It's very specific.
That's very, very specific. In my chapter, we actually have a domestic violence shelter in my chapter, and we've talked about different ways that they might be able to come onto TikTok to raise awareness. I think educating the public. I think TikTok is a great place to educate the public on criminal justice reform, because it needs to be reformed, right? And that's what you're doing. So I think that's a great way to educate. There's also a lot of cops on TikTok that are also in the criminal justice reform space, and a lot of criminal psychologists that are on. I think there are a lot of people in that space that you could connect with on TikTok as well.
All right. FYP, is that a useful hashtag? I was told it was, but found it didn't make a difference.
I think for searching, it makes a difference. Like if you're looking for things to be a part of on your FYP, yes. If you're trying to raise views, probably not, because it is one of the most popular hashtags. I was just looking at that last night, and there are, was it 200 and some odd million uses of that hashtag? So that one might be, I try to keep, if I'm using a hashtag on TikTok, I try to keep it to under the 3 to 5 million views, which I know sounds crazy, right? But when it gets too large, then everybody, it's kind of like Facebook at that point, right? Everybody's on it. So trying to find those hashtags that have like 100,000, 250,000, but under that 5 million views might be a better sweet spot to use.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Can you use something like Hootsuite to schedule in advance?
That's an excellent question, and I don't know. You've stumped the band, Scott. Typically, what my clients use is they just create their videos and they leave them in their drafts until they're ready to post them. But I'm pretty sure. Let me see how fast I can search.
While you're searching,
you might also be able.
Go ahead.
You can schedule your TikToks through TikToks on the desktop version. So if you can do that natively on TikTok, then it will soon be available if it's not already on Hootsuite and those other places, because that's usually kind of how that whole thing goes. Is it starts in one place, and then once that scheduling is available, it gets moved to other places as well.
Karen asked a good question that comes up with social media, all different platforms. Do you create a business or a personal profile?
I am a big fan of starting with personal profile, especially on TikTok, and then using that before you go to a business. You can then convert it to a business one later, or you can create a separate business one later. You can have more than one profile. That gets a little difficult to manage, but if you start with just yours, and you don't have a team of other people that are going to be necessarily logging into it, um, just use your personal one. Tanner the planter, the guy that owns the gardening center in Texas, it's just his personal profile. It is not technically a business profile. It's just a personal one. I think the advantages are usually it's easier to start with personal, and you have less hoops to jump through. You can also, I think business accounts are also limited in the sounds that they can use, in the hashtags and some of the filters. So you have more play in a personal profile than you do on a business profile.
Mhm. Gina is asking how they can find you on Facebook.
My business on Facebook, which it's Jane of All Trades Consulting, is my business profile Facebook page. I have been really busy in the last year and a half working on stuff for clients, and so my social media, I let it go. So it's always and I was joking with a friend of mine who actually got to go to the White House for social, because he was named one of the top social people in the nation when Obama was elected. And he's like, my personal profile is horrible, but the one that I run for the business we worked at the same time, he was recognized, and he was like, never follow me, follow my clients, right? But you can find me on Facebook at Jane of All Trades Consulting.
All right. Julie is a massage therapist and author of several self-treatment books. Let's see. I teach people how to find and self-treat the muscles that cause chronic pain. Others have agreed this is a good TikTok topic. I'm actually looking for other massage therapists who want to add new techniques to their practice. What do you think about that?
I love it. In fact, one of my clients, I coach a lot of solopreneurs on how to do their own marketing, since it's so expensive to have somebody create the strategy for you. And one of my clients is a massage therapist. And she is exploring and starting to use TikTok now herself. I follow a guy who's a physical therapist, and he shows how to get relief from different body pains all the time. So I think TikTok is a great place for you to be, and I think there's a lot of places that you could find and learn from, and again, riff off of and connect with other people like that.
All right. Okay, let's look at demographics here. Isn't TikTok mostly for younger kids and adults? My clients are usually in their 40 to 60 years old range, so would that work?
I think it would. Here's kind of how social media works. When a social media platform is going to take off and skyrocket, we watch where the teenagers go, that 15 to 25, 26-year-old bracket, right? Where they start to go. That's kind of the infancy phase. When it hits their growth phase is when that 30 to 49-year-old bracket goes. And I'm always watching for when that number to hit 20%. And when that number hits 20%, that's when I start pushing my clients to go to a platform to get that early adoption phase for the more of our business audiences are. Because once grandma and grandpa find that, realize that they can follow their kids on Facebook, what happened when the grandma and grandpa went to Facebook, kids went to Instagram. And so now that grandma and grandpa are on Instagram, they went to TikTok. And so I feel like now is the time, if you want to get away from Facebook where it's too cluttered, it's overly cluttered, there's a lot of people, it's hard to get through. Now is the time to start developing that audience on TikTok, because grandma and grandpa will eventually, don't know how long it'll take, but in a year, we've gone from 20% to the 30 to 49-year-old bracket to 30%. And that number is only going to increase. So if that audience, I know it's 40 to 60, so your lower end is kind of at the upper end right now, but I promise you your audience is gonna start coming over soon.
Mm. All right, this is a two-parter. What are your feelings about over-the-top, funny, borderline, unprofessional videos? So much of TikTok seems to be gossipy, exaggerated of your day in the life. And then do you worry about that unprofessional video hurting your image more than helping?
I think you are right. I think that, again, it goes back to how you've planned out your TikTok. What are your goals, and what are your goals for the platform? How do you want to communicate? It is easy to get views by being snarky or being, taking that cheap shot. But a lot of the content that I follow is really good and really deep content. And so you can have fun with stuff. but you can also be serious on TikTok. So I would encourage you to, again, not necessarily be so worried about, I've, gained 10,000 viewers and now I've stopped growing, but focus on cultivating that relationship. Focus on, setting out your standards and your guidelines before you get started. Here's this line where I'm not going to cross, and if you feel like, is this a little risky, sit on that video for a while. Maybe you can save it and download it, send it to some people who will give you honest feedback before you post it. You can always delete a video after it's been, you can remove a video if you feel like it went too far after you did post it. But I would encourage you to set those guidelines ahead of time and kind of give yourself those fence posts of what you will and you won't do. Because you're always going to get views with the cheap shot. And as a business owner, I think the cheap shot isn't a worthwhile shot. Even if it gains you immediate views, it's not worth it in the long run.
Agreed. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to skip this next question because it's a little unclear. If you're using a video clip from someone else, do you need to get permission?
If they are already showing it on TikTok, it's kind of in the public
Out
domain.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And even in a lot of like the PR rep that I follow, if it's on social media, if it's on anywhere on social media, or if it's a video that you are using that can be found widely available online, definitely give it credit. Like if you're using a news source, tag the original creator, make sure you provide a link for that. Always cite your sources and don't just swipe content. In fact, I just published an article with a company that I work with that we worked on the ethics of social media swiping. When is it social sharing and when is it plagiarism? So you always want to be careful that you're being very ethical in that. But if it's online, it's out there in the public domain. Just make sure you give it credit.
And I think there are some controls where you can prevent people from sharing. Isn't that right? And you can turn off comments if you need to. And the one thing that I've seen is in duets, and you were talking about giving attribution to those people, the original poster. Sometimes they don't do that. And that's kind of frustrating because you want to go to their site, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has to be a certain length too. Like on they can turn off stitches, and duets have to be, if a video is too long, you can't duet it. So there are some controls on those kinds of things. And so if there's a video that you wanted to duet that you can't, you can still talk to it and then, take a screenshot of it. So there's a filter where you can use it as a 3D in the background, and then you can link to the creator in the comment section. So there's still ways to get around that and still continue the conversation. If the video is too long or they've turned it off or whatever, you can still do those kinds of things.
Okay, so we know where you are on Facebook. What is your TikTok username so we can follow you?
My TikTok handle, mine is totally personal at this point. I am working on new stuff for my content, but right now my handle is ZoeBird73, ZoeYBird73.
Okay. Are there certain standard times of day to post?
No. I think it's open to you, because it's kind of like, there's a news feed, right? So it's going to show you what was most recently posted, and the more time that you scroll through, then it goes, newest to oldest, right? Most people are on TikTok in the evenings and afternoons. So if you can post in the evenings and the afternoon, but I've had some really decent success, in the daytime. My cousin is on TikTok, and her most viral video was one where she was at a 7-Eleven at 11 o'clock at night because the tooth fairy forgot to have the stuff for one of her daughters, and she had like 70,000 views, and wow. she was literally at 7-Eleven at 11 o'clock at night. So go figure.
Amazing. Okay, so Anthony asks, help us understand how to make a short video and post it.
Sure. The easiest way to do it is to grab your phone, open the app. If you go to the app, there's a plus button at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. There's a plus button right there in the middle. You hit that plus button, and it takes you to a video screen, and you have the option to set your limit to 15, 60, or 3-minute videos. And so you can set, and it'll shut off after 15 seconds. It'll shut off after 30. It'll shut off after 3 minutes. You can choose whatever kind of effects that you are wanting to do, and you hit the red button when you're ready to go, and you can literally just start talking. This is what I tell people to do. If you're looking to start videoing yourself, take wherever you are, spin around first so that you can see if you've got really good lighting, because you don't necessarily have to have a ring light and all that fancy setup. And then just hit the button and start talking and do your thing. Or, if you're, duetting or using a sound or whatever that you're whatever to, you can literally just do something this simple and get going. And then from there, after you record, it's going to have a check mark, and then you click that check mark, and then it takes you to next, and then you can add your text, you can add your hashtag, you can add people, you can do all sorts of editing, and then you can save it in your drafts, or you can publish it.
Great.
From there.
Nice.
Easy peasy, lemon
That's a
squeezy.
quick
There are
tutorial.
lots of apps. There are lots of apps that you can use outside to edit stuff. I am always a big fan of starting simply. Just start shooting with your phone. You don't have to have an expensive setup. You don't have to make it complicated. Just keep it simple, right? The keep it simple, stupid philosophy. It's my favorite philosophy. Just start simply, and then as you get better at it, your videos will get better. But if you don't start today, in a year from now, you still won't be started. But if you start today, a year from now, you will hate all of your early videos. I promise, it happens all the time. But you've grown so much in the year because you actually just got over your fear and you just started doing it. So I always encourage people, just start doing it. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I thought that was great. How do businesses that have patients include their patients in the videos but follow HIPAA? They have to get consent forms signed?
Well, I've yet to see, because I do follow some doctors and I do follow some therapists. They talk they don't include their patients. They talk generically about, like, so my mom's a therapist. Is one of my favorite ones, and she actually started her TikTok during the pandemic, and she will talk about, hey, I just got out of off a call with a client, and yada 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 yada, leaving out specific details but talking in generalistics. I follow like I said, a couple of doctors where they talk about in general terms about a patient without being specific to the individual patient, to raise awareness, whether it's for diabetes or mental health issues, or I follow an OB-GYN that specializes in women in menopause, and all of them talk in generalities, but they focus more on the specific issues and not to the specific client. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's always the safest way to go.
Yeah, it's
you may see a reckless person just kind of with a patient in the background or whatever, but I would definitely follow those rules for sure. Somebody's asking, like, what are ideas for a doggy daycare? I mean, that's like made for TikTok, isn't it?
Absolutely. Dogs, cats, and puppies win the internet hands down every time.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked for the nonprofit, I was also a volunteer marketing director for a local dog rescue. And over Giving Tuesday, right? I raised $50,000 in 1 week several years ago for the dog rescue, and I couldn't raise $500 for a drop-in teen shelter in Denver, Colorado. So it's dogs and cats and puppies win the internet. I follow a lot of, like, my dog rescue is on TikTok. I follow a lot of dog trainers on TikTok. Totally. You will have so many followers with everybody loves puppy and kitten content.
Yeah, and a lot of people are asking about their own specific businesses, and as you mentioned, Charlotte, there's so much out there right now. You can find someone who does what you do, and see and just watch their videos and get some ideas.
Yes, absolutely. You can search on TikTok. I see there's a question about a loan officer. So you could talk about mortgage, you could search TikTok for mortgage loans and it'll pop up the top videos. You can go to specific users that have that type, that in their name. I know one of the real estate agents that I follow, his name is Mortgage Mike, but he talks more about dating than mortgages, which is weird. But so you have all of these different kinds of things. So definitely just, again, go back and just start following people and just start searching for content and seeing what other people are doing and pull ideas from them. It's the easiest way to figure out what kind of content space that you need to be in.
Absolutely.
That's a little marketing secret right there, is just see what other people are doing successfully and what you enjoy, because it needs to feel like you, right? People want to, if it doesn't feel like you, then when they meet you, they feel a bit of that disconnect and they feel like a bit of a bait and switch. So we want it to feel like you at every chance that we get.
All right. We're really deep into these questions. There's still plenty more, but let's just Here's one. If we want to hire you, Charlotte, how do we get in touch with you?
Oh,
I'm
that'd be
guessing that email address that's on the screen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Email me at charlotte@janeofalltradesconsulting.com, and I always give potential clients a complimentary conversation where we talk about what your goals are and how we might work together to see if that might be a good fit. And as I said, I do marketing strategy for people, but I also coach, and coaching is one of my favorite things to do. Is helping entrepreneurs and businesses who want to do it themselves or they can't afford to have somebody do it for them feel like they're getting success out of their marketing. And I also do ask me sessions where people are like, hey, I don't necessarily think I need help overall, but I do want to, like buy an hour of your time and ask all sorts of questions. And I do those. I love those just as much.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Can I make anything I want, even though I really want my business to be the focus? Can it take away from my value?
I think you need. I think you need to have some of your personal. I think you do need to balance it.
Hmm.
If you have too much personal, then you lose the business aspect of it, right? But I feel like people want to see the human side of you too. So if you can, and there's a little bit of play around with that. What does that percentage look like? Is it 60/40? Is it 70/30? It depends on how your audience is, but I think you should always include some of your personal. If it starts to diverge from that a little bit, then you might want to create two accounts. You can have two accounts on TikTok. You can have multiple accounts on TikTok, and so you can pull that away. I follow several creators where they have two accounts. One guy, his name is Abraham Piper, and he has a lot of stuff on entomology and where do words come from. And then he also owns a puzzle company, so he ended up splitting into two accounts. So I say start with one and then see how it grows.
Yeah. Let's see. If you start with personal account, can it be switched to business later?
Yes, it can.
Okay. All right, last 2 minutes. Let's see. I'm in personal lines insurance and I've been trying to create videos for content. I'm having trouble with my product being non-tangible. What would your approach be?
Ooh. Well, I think you need to come back to the personal side of what you do. If I heard that right, I'm trying to find that question so I can
Personal lines of insurance. So,
personal lines of insurance.
right.
Okay. So talking about, again, the FAQs, why do people come to you? How have you helped people? This would be, just a video form of the marketing that you're currently doing. Why do I need personal lines? How can personal line of insurance help me and my family? Why are they important? Is a great place to start. And then again, like a friend of mine, she had a car, and her car, the where her office was at, it was a flooded area, and there was a freak storm, and all of the cars in that parking lot got flooded out, and she lost her car. Not only did her insurance agent, both of these are in my chapter, not only was her insurance agent amazing, she had her check in a week, and when she bought a car, it ended up being a stick. She didn't know how to drive a stick. The insurance agent in our chapter offered to teach her how to drive a stick.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, like,
Amazing. Yeah,
amazing content right
super
there.
creative. Yeah, that's great. Okay, we are out of time. It is
I'm so
12:59.
sorry.
This is the latest we've ever gone on a webinar. Usually we stop at
I'm so
12:57. Charlotte, thanks so much for this really great info.
sorry.
Remember
Good.
what our disclaimer at the beginning, check all your security issues, read up on TikTok. If it's right for you, then that is an option for your business. I know a lot of people are still there's another million questions to go.
Right.
Unfortunately, we don't have time, but I hope we can have you on again sometime. And thanks for being
Absolutely.
on. All right,
Awesome.
everybody,
Have a great
give
day,
yourselves a
everyone.
CEU. Yeah. And we'll see you next time. I'm going right into the book club. There's a link there if
Awesome.
anyone wants to do that. But all right, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.